Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. As promised a couple weeks ago, I'm going to be doing an updated Barracks showcase, so I'm going to be taking you through exactly 65 of my most invested units in my Barracks. These units range from just a couple of merges, some of them don't even have merges, up to whole plus 10 units. So yeah, we're just going to be taking a deep dive into all of the units who I've invested in, really. And I've also included all of the units who I picked up as Forma Souls here, even if they just are one-off units. I just thought it would be interesting just to show you guys what Forma Soul units I've picked up. So yeah. I made a Barracks showcase like this about a year and a half ago, and I feel like it has been a really long time since then, and there are just so many more units that I've invested in since then. Back then I didn't even have plus 10 Legendary Claude. Obviously now I have plus 10 of all 4 of the Claudes, so we do have Claude Emblem. I've also got the plus 10 New Year's Fafnir, and just in general, I feel like there are a lot of other units who I've invested in who I haven't really had the chance to showcase on the channel, because unfortunately that's just kind of how FEH is, isn't it? There are a lot of units who we have who we don't really use on a day-to-day basis. They don't really count as meta units, so we don't really use them in any of the competitive game modes, but they're still around. They're still fun to use in Squad Assault, Arena Assault, and in PvE. So yeah. That's what this video is going to be. So for every unit, I'm just going to quickly show them off and talk about their build, how I intend to use them, and keep in mind that because we only have a limited number of seals, and obviously you can't have the same seal on 2 people at once, a lot of these units are going to have suboptimal seals, but yeah, I still feel like you can kind of imagine what the purpose of each unit is, even without the seals. So yeah, without further ado, let's jump right into it. We're going to go in order from red to blue to green to colorless. So first off on the list is a unit who I've actually made a showcase for, so if you want to check that out on my channel, I made a Levitin Refine showcase. This is a unit who I don't get to use very often, but when I do, she's like super fun. So obviously the Refine, or just in general, her weapon has the Blade Tome effect, but it's a sword, so that makes her pretty unique. It gives her buffs, which is super awesome. And yeah, this is kind of the build we're running with. So the idea behind Windsweep is that she's not super fast, but she's fast enough to pass the speed check on like bulkier save armors who tend to be pretty slow. So if she's facing any kind of unit who gets hit by Windsweep and who's slower, she will be able to just get that one hit on them and they won't retaliate, which is awesome because she doesn't have null follow-up. That's kind of expensive fodder. Null follow-up is also a pretty good option for her. You could also give her something like a lull, but yeah, this is the build I'm running with her. And normally she would probably have a different seal, maybe like attack speed solo or something, but just for the sake of this showcase, she's got attack speed bond. So yeah, she is very good at one-shotting things. Super fun to use in Arena Assault. Next up, we've got this Forma Celica. This is a unit who I decided to pick up her Forma Soul after already having 4 copies of her. I had her at +3 and I was like, well, I've never actually invested in her, so I feel like the Forma Soul is a great opportunity to do that. So as you can see, she was a Forma unit way back before we had all the new distant pressure skills and whatnot, so she just picked up DC, Spurn, and Joint Drive Attack. I don't even think Menace existed back then, to be very honest. And I'll be honest, like, I almost never use this unit, but she is, I feel like, a pretty decent Spurn tank. Next up, we've got Ira, and this is someone who I just really, really enjoy as a character. I've never played Genealogy myself, but I did read the manga, and I did really like her interactions with characters in that. So she's also very pretty. Her art is stunning, so I decided to invest in her. And now she's got the Regnal Astra, which goes off instantly because of Time's Pulse. And because she's got null follow-up and also null guard, that is a guaranteed 2 procs of Regnal Astra in every combat. So I really don't feel like I use this unit enough. I feel like she's really, really amazing. And honestly, after doing this showcase, I'm going to try and see what I can do with her. Because, like, she doesn't kill Brave Hector, but she gets pretty dang close. Like, she gets a lot closer than you would expect. So, of course, you can also do, like, the typical, like, Spurn dodge tank with her, but I do think she really has that niche with Regnal Astra, and I feel like she could be a really, really strong player phase unit to punch through things. Next up, we've got this Roy, who I literally never use, but I used to use way back when. I remember in the early days of Ether raids, anybody who had DC on Null C Disrupt could basically just sweep an entire team by themselves. And when I say early days, I mean like very early days, like 2019, 2020, this unit was very good in AR. Unfortunately, his stats as a Gen 1 unit just can't really keep up with the new units nowadays, and I really don't feel like investing plus 25 Dragon Flowers in him, but I still feel like he's a decent counter pick unit, maybe for Arena Assault. I just don't really find myself using him much. But here he is, and he's highly invested, so I figured I'd show him off. Next up, we've got this Crom, who I actually decided to plus 10 about a week before Yenfei existed, so it was kind of a feels bad moment because I wanted to make Crom into like a spurn tank, a dodge tank, and then Yenfei came out, who probably just does it better. But he does have the Sealed Falchion, which is pretty unique, I think, so that's quite good. So yeah, we've just got the speedy build on him. I do use him in limited hero battles, so he's actually quite good in those, but other than that, I don't really use him much. Next up, we have Yenfei, who I had decided to plus 10 at one point. I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna plus 10 him, he's the best free-to-play unit, and I'm so glad I kind of held off on that, because, like, unfortunately, units like Ninja Korin, who you'd expect him to be able to be surviving, he just doesn't do very well against them. He almost dies in one round of combat from Ninja Korin just because she's so dang fast, so he doesn't get the damage reduction, really. But yeah, I still did plus 2 him with the first 3 copies we got. Gave him attack speed solo 4 and null follow-up from a Ninja male Korin, and I do use this unit, I would say, in limited hero battles as well. So he's still decent, but definitely glad I didn't max invest in him. Next up, we've got this Zelgius, who I recently just picked up another 4-star special of him last week, making him plus 3, and that's kind of when I decided to finally refine him and do something with him. I've kind of had this plus 2 copy sitting around for ages. I was like, I want to do something with him because I never built Black Knight. So we decided to go with, I guess, like a melee specialist type build, although he can also be like a good ranged check, especially for units who are targeting his defensive stat, because his defense is very high, especially with double attack defense form, and then he's got special fighter for the instant Black Luna proc. I haven't actually used him yet since building him last week, but I feel like he could be a pretty decent counter to units who target defense. So I'm excited to try using him. Next up, we've got this unit who I built only because he just kept showing up without me ever wanting him to. For context, when he was still a 5-star exclusive unit, he pity broke me about 4 times, which was not awesome because he was never that great of a unit. Obviously the refined is quite good, so in hindsight, I'm like not super unhappy that he pity broke me. There are definitely worse units that could have pity broken me. But yeah, I decided to finally build him after getting the 7th copy, so he's plus 6 now. He could be plus 7, unfortunately, just back in the day, like ages ago, I foddered a copy of him off for Speed Smoke 3 to my Ira because nobody else had it at that point. Like, it was a very, very limited skill. And obviously, in hindsight, I'd much rather have that plus 7 merge, but back then I was just so upset that he kept pity breaking me that I was like, well, I gotta fodder him off. So anyways, he's plus 6 now. He just keeps showing up as a 4-star special. Maybe someday I'll plus 10 him, but it'll never be of my own accord. Like, I'm never gonna go out of my way. Because I just have a feeling, like, if I do ever go out of my way to get those last 4 copies, I feel like I will keep getting more 4-star specials of him after that, and then I'll feel like it was a waste. But anyway, we've got the Divine Tearfing Refine, pretty decent. Obviously, the guaranteed follow-up attack and the damage reduction from magic. And then we've got DC. Dull Range does like a budget option for a lull skill, because I didn't really want to give him a lull skill. Honestly, I just feel like this works pretty well with the fact that he's meant to be like a ranged counter. He also obviously has his PRFB skill, but I don't really run that. And then we've got Speed Smoke and Kestrel Stance, so yeah, he's a decent like counter pick unit, but I don't use him very often either. I just felt like it would be worth investing in him since I had emerged anyway. Next up is Sword Reinhardt, and this is a unit who I was lucky enough to pick up at plus attack, and so we've got the plus attack IV on him. I think he's better than people give him credit for. I do think the impact effect is pretty cool, although unfortunately he is kind of slow, so even with the impact, if someone has quick riposte, and outspeeds him naturally, they're probably still going to double him. Because, yeah, he is quite slow. But I do find him as a pretty useful unit for things like Squad Assault. So we've got Moonbow, Heavy Blade, so on the second hit, he tends to get off the Moonbow if he's hitting that attack check, because he does get attack +5 and attack -5 to the foe. And then, yeah, we've just got low attack defense and Savage Blow on him. He's pretty decent. I do enjoy using him, and not just because he's Reinhardt. Then we've got this Eliwood, who's pretty much base kit, but I just thought it'd be cool to show him off here because I am super excited for his remix. I still think even now, with the way he's set up, he's a pretty good support unit, and I'm just really excited to see what else they do with his Vision of Arcadia 2. I think maybe they'll give something like null follow-up or guaranteed follow-up or something to the person with the highest attack, because he already gives bonus doubler. But I don't know, I'm just really excited to see what they do with him. And I did use him in Summoner Duels for a bit, back when I was still playing Summoner Duels. So, you know, maybe if he gets a really good refine, maybe I'll be finally motivated enough to actually play Summoner Duels again. But yeah, I have him a +2 because I just kept getting him by accident, so excited to see what they can do with him. Next up, we've got this Forma Baby Sheeta. This is the build I went with her, so we picked up, I think she's also got Rally Up Attack Plus. She's also got Distant Pressure, Near Trace, and Menace. I did pick her up because I feel like even as a one-off unit, she's pretty useful for limited hero battles, but I also feel like her Refine is going to go kind of hard. So I'm excited to see what they do with her Refine, and even now I still do use her occasionally. Now we've got this Halloween Myrrh, who I'm honestly regretting that I didn't pick up her Forma Soul, because I just had to give her this fodder from a spare to-do I had, and the Dragon Wall. This is all stuff I could have picked up on the Forma Soul. But the Forma Soul came out before her Refine came out, and so I didn't know if it was going to be a good Refine. Lesson learned, guys, if there's a seasonal unit who you're maybe interested in, they actually might get a really good Refine, so if they're in the Hall of Forms and they interest you, probably pick them up if you got a spare Forma Soul, because the seasonal Refines have been actually quite good. So yeah, her Refine, where she gets 70% damage reduction on the second attack, on the follow-up attack, it is so good. Like, this unit with this exact build in Aether Raids, with the Dragon Wall, because of course that did contribute to it, she actually survived a Brave Erica with Luna on the second hit, because that second hit was just reduced by 70%. It was crazy. She lived with maybe 5-10 HP, but that's just insane to me. The fact that this unit, who has armor weakness and is red, so has weapon triangle disadvantage, and got hit by Luna from Brave Erica, who is known to be one of the best armor slayers, she survived. So, yeah, really, really underrated unit. I think if you have one sitting around in your barracks and you have near save fodder, consider building her. She's really good. I really enjoy using her in ARs, even to this day. Then, the first crowning jewel in this showcase, of course, we've got my +10 New Year's Fafnir, who I spent way too many orbs to get. Probably shouldn't have +10'd him all in one go, but it happened. So here he is. He is so much fun to use in pretty much every game mode. The main thing that I use him for is Arena and also Aether Raids. In Aether Raids, I use him with a Fury 7 build, so Fury 4 and then Fury 3 in the Seal. And then I give him Disarm Trap, and he's basically a Wings of Mercy beacon. So yeah, he does really well against pretty much most Farsavers who aren't Brave Hector or another blue unit. So yeah, he's actually really, really good in his role as a Wings of Mercy beacon. But we've got so many skills on him, guys. We've got Dragon Slasher, which I used for an Abyssal clear, which was very interesting. I did actually need the Dragon Slasher. I think it was the Medius Abyssal. We needed that, plus the lethality to kill Medius. He's also got the Rally skill for Arena. He's got Fury 4, Close Counter just for fun, Attack Speed Push 4, Attack Speed Solo 4, which he comes with, Red Dual Cavalry, which I pulled for him. He's got Attack Speed Catch, Wind Sweep, Water Sweep, Disarm Trap, Wall Speed Defense, and then in the C skill he's got Attack Speed Menace, which I gave him, Speed Smoke, Pulse Smoke, which was super useful back in Summoner Duels when I actually played it, and then Rouse Attack Defense 4, which he comes with, and Speed Smoke 4, which I did pull for him because I thought it'd be useful. Unfortunately, it hasn't proven to be as useful as I was hoping it would be, but it's still there. It's still decent, but honestly, I kind of prefer Menace over it. I just wanted to show it here because of the flex. So yeah, very, very proud of this unit. One of my favorite units in my barracks for sure. And as much as, I will never go that hard for a unit again in Fae, I don't think, or at least I don't want to. I don't regret it. I've used him so much over the past few months that I love having him. Alright, on to another unit who I love having and who is a +10 merge project. We've got Plumeria, so she's +6. Just need 4 more copies to +10 her, and I've told myself that every time she comes back on a legendary banner, I will be sparking her. So hopefully just 1 or 2 more runs of her coming back will be enough. Realistically 2, because assuming I have 1 copy along to the spark and then I spark, that's 2 copies per session. So probably 2 more sessions, but here she is. I did give her the red dual flying 4 in anticipation of the fact that I will have her at +10. And I think it's actually a pretty good skill on her generally because she doesn't super need her speed, but it does boost her HP, attack, and res. I think still water might actually be better on her, but I haven't really committed to that fodder yet, even though I do have a spare duo Thor, just because I feel like red dual is good enough. Might give her trace, but for now she just has Wings of Mercy, and then she's got the typical build otherwise. So I do use her in AR. She does increase my score in Astra, which is super awesome.
Versus someone who I've always really liked, mainly because of her design, and I really decided to invest in her hard when I picked up a 3rd copy of Brave Violet, so I had 2 spare for fodder. So I decided to go all in and give her speed preempt and speed res hold. And I think this is a build, I haven't tested it out yet, but I think it will be very good in Arena, where she's able to one-shot a lot of common threats, like Duo Dagger and Ninja Korin, and her weapon is actually really, really good for in combat. So if she manages to debuff foes like Ninja Korin, and Duo Dagger, she can just one-shot them before they can even hit her, which is really awesome because that means she doesn't even have to take any damage from them. And obviously speed res hold is quite good for her. Debuffing the foe's speed and res works really well with this build because with the res she deals more damage, and with the speed obviously she's more likely to activate speed preempt. So I haven't actually tested this build out yet. I also do have speed res far trace on her, but I'm really excited to see what I could do with speed preempt.
Next we've got this Adrift Camilla, who isn't merged, but I did give fodder to because I do enjoy using her. Her Refine, I think a lot of people just don't have her, but her Refine actually goes crazy. It is so good. So I do have the plus attack copy. I was hoping to do a speed Milla build, but minus speed, and I don't have any merges for her. Maybe someday. But no, it's so much fun to use her. The debuffs that she inflicts are awesome. She's also got the true damage, which is great, and with the impact skill, unless they one-shot her, which is possible, but against res-based units, they will not be one-shotting her, definitely, because she has, like, so much res. So, yeah, she's super fun to use. And in general, I just like Camilla, so that's kind of why I invested in her, but also the Refined is great. Then we've got Lucas, who used to see so much use. I used to be able to use him in AR. He's also got Null C Disrupt. He's got Distant Counter. The reason why he's plus res is because I was able to do like a plus res type build for him way back when. Kind of like how I was talking about my Roy, how I used to be able to use Roy in AR. Lucas was the same. He was, believe it or not, he was actually fast enough to run a null follow-up and then like a speed res solo build. He was fast enough to do that with Brave Lucina support. Obviously nowadays 31 base speed isn't getting you anywhere, so I no longer use him that way, but he's still a pretty good melee wall. Probably gonna switch off that plus res though. It's not really doing much for him. So maybe if I get another Lucas, I'll go back to plus defense or maybe plus attack. But yeah, the fact that he got a Resplendent is cool too. I just don't really use him much anymore. We've also got another Lucas. I used to be a really big Lucas fan at one point. And this one I do still use, actually, a lot more often. So this build might look super wacky to you, and you might be like, well, why isn't this just your typical near-save build? Like, give him, like, Guard Lance or a Courtly Candle or something. And I used to be able to do that until Brave Erica was released. And then, unfortunately, he no longer was able to survive. Like, he couldn't survive 2 hits from Brave Erica, nor could he kill her. So, we actually, my friend and I, who also plays IRL, we came up with this really interesting build with its curtains, so he gets -2 cooldown at the start of turn 1. And then with Steady Breath, he actually activates Ignis right away. So if someone attacks into him, as long as they don't have guard, he initiates with, or he retaliates with Ignis immediately. And I don't know about you, but if you want to do the math, that is massive defense. Like, there's a million defense here. That's a really big Ignis. And that was actually the only way that he could one-shot Brave Erica's. So she was hitting into him once, yeah, taking a lot of damage, but then just one-shotting her back. So this is the anti-Brave Erica Lucas build. It's actually kind of awesome. And then he has Special Spiral. After that first Ignis, because obviously its curtains only works at the start of turn 1. After that first Ignis, his Ignis will now be 2 cooldowns. So yeah, again, anytime someone initiates on him, the Steady Breath plus the 2 cooldown will mean instant Ignis. So yeah, actually a really interesting build. And it works. Next up we've got this Forma Rudolph, who I took this unit before I had Hardy Fighter fodder of any kind. For the longest time, I didn't have any Ascended Fjorms, so I did use him in Summoner Duels for a bit. I still think I have him on a Summoner Duels S team, but I don't play Summoner Duels anymore, so I don't really use this unit anymore, but I think he's actually pretty decent. He survives a lot of things with the Hardy Fighter. He's got the Far Save, he's got the Unity, and the Bond, although I'd probably be running, like, Deflect Magic or something, but yeah, he's actually a pretty good unit, honestly. I know a lot of people picked him up because he was, like, I think the only really good free-to-play armor we got for save. Next up is the better version of that unit. So I didn't have Hardy Fighter for the longest time, so I was just running the Special Fighter Bonfire build, but I picked up 2 Fjorms, luckily, with my 10 free tickets on Hero Fest. So, yeah, I was like, it's kind of a no-brainer to give this unit Hardy Fighter. And let me tell you guys, he is not overrated. Hardy Fighter Vector is not overrated. Like, nobody told me just how good he would be in my own hands. He's crazy. It is so hard to kill this unit. I was having issues with the Special Fighter Bonfire build and Ether Raids, so back when I used him like that, he just was kind of dying a lot, but he just doesn't die anymore. It is very hard to kill this unit. So yeah, kind of feels like eating glue using him, but he is a very good unit. Even just at +3, and I don't even have him ascended or anything. Next up is another unit who I did invest in, but unfortunately I never ended up using. I just thought her art was very pretty, and I picked up 2 copies of her while going on that, sparking on that winter banner, my bad. Yeah, she's got DC Special Fighter. I was trying to go for like an instant bonfire build here, kind of to emulate Brave Hector. It's decent, probably. I just don't really use her, so I don't know. I can't speak to exactly how good it is, but, yeah. She's just there. I thought it'd be cool to show her off because I never use her. Next up is Sumiya, who is another unit who I kind of just picked up a couple 4-star special copies of. And I was really intrigued by her Refine. I think Kanto in general, especially on older units. And Kanto 2, by the way, not Kanto Rem. So her warping is super awesome. She can warp and then attack and then still Kanto 2. I just think she's actually a very good unit. Unfortunately, her attack is kind of low, but I do have her at plus attack. I think I actually spent trait fruits for that now that I think about it. I'm pretty sure she was plus defense before. And I did give her Swift Sparrow and Dive Bomb and Speed Defense Rain. I think the Swift Sparrow and Speed Defense Rain were from a spare Ninja Lin, the free one we got. And then the Dive Bomb was from a spare Pirate Tabarn I had. I think she's also got... no, I guess I never gave her Heavy Blade 4, but still... Yeah, Heavy Blade 4, like, she's never gonna be hitting that. Or did I give it to her and I just never taught it? Okay, so I do have Heavy Blade 4. It's just, like, her attack kinda low, but, yeah, I still think she's a very good unit to use. I still use her in limited hero battles. And, then we've got Shigure. So, this is a unit who I had at plus 10 before he got his Refine. And he kind of sucked before that, but his Refine is actually really good for Arena. Like, the healing is still so unique. Now, Ymir has it as well, but I think aside from that, he's one of the only units who has healing like that. So, I do use him in Water Season in Arena. So I gave him the dual skill. The Quick Riposte is just there as a placeholder, because I didn't want to give him Trace. And then Threat and Attack Speed, I had that on him before, and because it's a tier 4 C skill, it enables me to run a lower scoring seal on him. So yeah, that's kind of the idea behind this build. He's actually quite good. And then another one of the crown jewels in my barracks, someone who I love very much, and as a unit also love very much because they're very good, and that is Summer Claude. He is also ascended. Of course, I had to ascend Best Boy. And this is the build I use on him in Ether Raids. You might be wondering why there's Disarm Trap. That's because in Chaos Season, in Ether Raids, I just do like a hit and run type of thing with him. So yeah, that's why I run Disarm Trap. But obviously, he could also be running Fallen Star. I've got a lot of skills on him. He's got Rally Up Attack, Harsh Command. I still don't have Lethality on him, but if I ever pick up a spare Volk, it's definitely going to him. Starting Impact, Steady Impact, Close Counter, Attack Speed Push, Attack Defense Solo, Attack Speed Catch. And then we've also got the Pulse Smoke on him, which is pretty good for Summoner Duels. Although, again, I don't really play Summoner Duels anymore, so not super useful. But yeah, very, very good unit. Definitely the best 4-star special we've ever gotten in this game's history. And no, I will not budge on that. There's just nobody else who's even close. Like, he is... Even as a 5-star exclusive on a banner, he would be amazing. So the fact that they made him a 4-star, insane. This is basically blue Legendary Claude, but better. Of course, he doesn't have the null follow-up, but if you have someone like Fallen Lilith who can give him null follow-up support, or any other unit who can give null follow-up, he is unstoppable. So, so, so good. I love him. He's great. Alright, next up on to Ishtar, who is a unit who I have so much appreciation for her design and her art. Like, definitely one of my favorite Resplendent arts in the game. One of my favorite arts in the game, period, to be very honest. Just like, look at this. This special art goes so hard. So I was very happy when we got her as a Resplendent because I never had a copy of her before, but I always really wanted to build her because I thought she was very pretty. So yeah, she's got the Refine, which is really good, has null follow-up, and then I gave her Swift Sparrow and Wind Sweep, so that's quite good. Normally I'd run Flashing Blade on her, but it's currently on someone else, so yeah, but this is the build. She is very good. I love using her. Next up is Reeve, who I built specifically for Arena. I do think he's kind of ugly, so, I know people call him Skinny Garnef. I don't know where that started, but, yeah. We got Skinny Garnef over here, who, for some reason, they gave him abs in his damaged art, which makes me a little bit uncomfortable, but, I guess Slay King. So, yeah, he's really just for Arena. I thought it'd be a good idea to have a unit who has Stall for Arena to help deal with Legendary Sigurds. In practice, pretty good, actually. I do actually like using him in the same season as Legendary Sigurd, which is what? Is Sigurd? I don't remember what season Sigurd's in. It might not be Fire, but his blessing should probably be aligned with that. So yeah, we've got the dual skill. I did go plus speed on him, which in hindsight was probably a bad idea. I was trying to do Speedy Reeve. But if I run like attack speed solo on him, he's speedy enough. He's fine. And then he's got the lull attack res. I also have speed res ruse on him. And then panic ploy to help with his debuffing. So yeah, here he is. He's alright. He's pretty decent. Definitely don't like his art though. I mean, the art is good. I just don't think, like, he's kind of ugly. Sorry to the Reeve fans out there. Next we've got Micaiah, who is someone who I used to use in Ether Raids a lot, so I did invest in her. I gave her Attack Res Unity and Null C Disrupt from a spare Winter Altina. So yeah, she is someone who I don't really use much anymore, just because I kind of just use Farsaver instead nowadays, but she is still very good. Like, she's got the effective against Armored and Cavalry, which is great. She's got the guaranteed follow-up. She's got the damage reduction. So yeah, if I ever do need, like, a counterpick unit for a staff or a mage, or really... like a back when what are they called? Cavlines. I still run a Cavline, but nobody else does. But back when Cavlines were popular, she was so good because she could take on units like Duo Leaf, any of the Flash or Razzle Dazzle healers, whatever. Pretty much any of the units on a Cavline she could easily take on. So yeah, she was really good. Next up, we've got this Ileana, who I took as a Formasoul because I didn't really have any Farsavers back then when I took her. So we did give her... I like the Cavalry effective tome on her because then she can one-shot people like Ninja Corrin and she doesn't have to take 4 hits. So, yeah. She's got Keen Blarwolf, Ruptured Sky, Distant Defense, which is quite good, neutralizes foes' bonuses. She's also got Crafty Fighter, which it has Guard, so that's pretty good. And she's got the Far Save, obviously. So this is a unit who I don't use, like, that much anymore. Sorry, I just burped. I don't use that much anymore because I kind of just switch over Brave Hector's Blessing from AR season to AR season so I can use him in both. But I did use her in Light season for quite a bit. She was decent. She was decent. Might bring her back. Next up we've got another one of the crown jewels of my collection. This is Reinhardt number 1. I say number 1, and you'll see why soon after this, but yeah. This is my pride and joy, guys, honestly. My Gen 1 pride and joy. Like, think about it. Are there any other 3 or 4 star units from Gen 1 who you would actually recommend to a new player to build nowadays other than Reinhardt? Because Nino used to be someone who maybe you could make an argument for, but she's not that good anymore. Aside from that, I really can't think of any others. Like, he has stood the test of time so well. And obviously this is a maximum investment Reinhardt, and lower investment Reinhardts can't do quite as much, but no, I love this unit so much. He's so powerful. So this is his arena build that you see on him. He's got the Harsh Command Plus, Blue Flame for arena scoring, Blue Dual Cavalry, Far Trace, very, very good. And Speed Res Menace is actually a new addition. I picked up actually 2 spare Arthurs, the Green Mage guy. So one of them went to Reinhardt, the other one's still sitting around because I haven't decided who to fodder him off to yet. But yeah, very good unit. Speedheart, I love him so much. If y'all remember back in the day when I used to do daily AR and he was on my Cav line, he would just wreck everything. Very few things you could stick in front of Speedheart and not die. So yeah, just kind of continuing that trend. I love him so much. He's awesome. Love using him. And then there's Speedheart number 2. You know that meme that's like, if blank is so good, then why isn't there blank 2? Well, guess what, guys?
I was once a man.
Speedheart 1 was so good that they made Speedheart 2. So, yeah, I was at a point where I had like 900k feathers. Couldn't really think of anyone who I wanted to plus 10, so I just plus 10 another Reinhardt. So here he is. Also gave him the speedy skills, although he's nowhere near as fast as the other Speedheart because he's not ascended. But, yeah. So, normally he'd have Quickened Pulse as a seal, but that's on someone else. So I run him on my Cav line alongside the other Speedheart, and he's running Quickened Pulse Moonbow. And actually gets some sneaky kills. You might not expect it, but he does. He does get some kills. So yeah, we got the 2 Speedhearts. Next up is another unit who I picked up their Forma Soul in anticipation for their Refine, and that is Leguiarn. Definitely not disappointed. I think her Refine is very good. So we've got Phantom Speed on her to help with that speed condition, and the build I picked up for her is Rally Up Speed Plus, Ruptured Sky, Attack Speed Catch, Far Trace, and Speed Res Rain. So this is a very good unit to use against really anyone who's 10 speed slower than her. She's very good. The Lewin effect, the Forseti effect, very strong. Actually, speaking of Lewin, he's somewhere down there, but we're not there yet. Next up is another Camilla, who I don't have super high merged, but I do really like Camilla. Like, this summer art is probably my favorite art of hers in the game. It's so pretty. Like, the colors, the lavender, oh, so good. Like, look how cute that is. I love her. So I picked up the Forma Soul, and then I also had just another one-off copy, so she's +1. Drifting Grace, pretty good inheritable blue tome, especially for someone who is speedy and has attack. Then Rally Up Attack, Ruptured Sky, Attack Speed Catch, Far Trace, and Speed Res Rain. In hindsight, maybe Menace would have been better, but it is what it is. And yeah, her attack and speed aren't great, but you know where I do enjoy using her? I like using her in Resonant battles sometimes, because she does have the Trace, which is nice. So yeah, I don't use her much, but I do think she's very pretty, and I do think she's a good one-off unit to have. Next up is Dagger, who I really like. She's super cool, super slay. The build I normally use on her would have Wings of Mercy here instead of Sun Twin Wing on my Fafi Force team, and he's the Wings of Mercy beacon, and then she can just Wings of Mercy in and Gale Force. And ever since I gave her Times Pulse, Gale Force just became so much more consistent. Like, a lot of the times she was hitting twice into, for example, someone like Duo Sigurd or Legendary Lilina. Of course she was hitting the Flashing Blade check, but because she had the 5 cooldown Gale Force, she just couldn't Gale Force. So she was stuck at 1 cooldown, which would always mess up my Gale Force strats. But with Times Pulse, it's been awesome. So I recommend,
I'm going to be a great queen.
if you run like any kind of Wings of Mercy Gale Force strategy and you want to incorporate Dagger, highly recommend giving her Times Pulse. She's awesome. She's great. Next up is Hawkeye, who is a unit who I +10'd ages ago. He's another unit who, just like Lucas and Roy, I used to use a lot in the early days of AR, so we just had the distant counter build. Honestly, for like Gen 1 refines, lull attack defense was very good, so that's kind of why I built him. But yeah, here he is. Don't really have much more to say about him. I don't really use him, but decent counter pick if I ever need him for Arena Assault or something. Next we've got this Brave Ike, who is not merged at all. Just +3 actually, I guess. I thought he was +0. But yeah, like you can tell I didn't really invest in him a lot. I think he's also got Nulcy Disrupt. Yeah. So, he's really fallen off a lot, but at some point I used to use him in AR, so he's decent. Not as good as he used to be. Next up is Ninja Hana, who is a unit who I regret building. I built her when she first came out because she was like one of the first 180 BST units to use for Arena. So I was like, oh my god, I'm finally going to have a 180 BST unit to use in Arena, because back then I didn't have anyone. And she's just so disappointing as a unit, just not very good. So I never use her in Arena anymore. But she does exist. She's got Null Follow-Up. She also has Spurn. But I've tried her both ways. Doesn't work super well, so let's move on. This is a unit who I've picked up a couple 4-star specials for, and I would love to build more. I just don't really know what would be good on her. So for now, I've just got the Refine and Fury Special Fighter and Armor March. So if anyone in the comments has any recommendations for, like, a budget build that I could give her, but that's better than this. Like, I've already got the Special Fighter, so I don't know if there's a better A skill I could give her, maybe. But yeah, I'm so open to suggestions. Also, shoutouts to my boy Swiftsy. Biggest Amelia fan I know. We're getting close-ish to the end, so let's continue. So we've got this Edelgard, who I never have actually pulled for on purpose. She is +4 though, so you can tell she really likes me. So yeah, I think +4 is kind of the minimum where legendary units start to become viable to use in season in Arena. So I did kit her out with an Arena kit. I'll be honest, I don't really use her though. So she got the Rally, the Deathblow 4 for scoring, and then the Joint Hone Defense for scoring. But again, like, not having Armored Stride kind of cripples her a lot, so not the greatest unit to use in Arena. I haven't used her much, but I think she is very strong otherwise. Next up, we've got Lex, who another unit like Ira. I've never played Genealogy, however, I did read the manga, and I really liked Lex there. He was one of my favorites, so I was so happy when he was added and he was demoted to the 3-4-star pool. So yeah, I did build him. This is kind of like a melee specialist build that he has, but I also have DC on him, and I do DC Vantage sometimes, but yeah, this is the melee specialist build that I have for him. He's pretty good. I don't really find myself using him much, but I feel like I should use him more. I should really, like, guys, I don't really play Arena Assault. Maybe I should. I just have so many good units. Maybe I should do that more. Next up, we've got Summer Innes, who is another one of my pride and joys. He was my first ever 5-star +10 exclusive, and it took me 3 years to +10 him because back when he came out, I was free to play, like completely free to play, so obviously I didn't go all in. So I actually saved up orbs for 3 years in a row to finally +10 him. And I recently gave him the Floret. I feel like it's been a long time coming. This is a unit I use a lot for Abyssal maps just because I like him. And guys, he has so much fodder. Like, let's just take a look at all of his stuff. All the axes. He's got Seahorse Axe. He's got Harsh Command for Arena. He's got Gale Force, Fury Force, Swift Sparrow 3, Sturdy Impact, Distant Pressure, Attack Speed Push 4, Green Dual Flying. Hint, he's not very good in Arena. This was just for fun. What else has he got? Wyvern Flight, which never was that good on him. Speed Defense Near Trace, which is awesome on him. Flow Refresh was decent when I had it. Joint Drive Attack, Attack Speed Rain, Speed Defense Rain, Attack Speed Oath, and even Tempest. So this is the build I'm currently running with for Abyssals most of the time. Sometimes I swap it out if I need like a different skill. But I really enjoy the interaction of even Tempest with Speed Defense Near Trace. And I find that with the Ninja Masakari, when he does activate Gale Force, it's super awesome. But even when he doesn't, he still tends to do a lot of damage and then just get away with Near Trace. He is not meta by any means, but he is just so much fun to use. And, of course, the art. The art is great. That's why I +10'd him. Next, on to Rayson. And Rayson is someone who I +10'd because I wanted a +10 dancer, and he seemed like a good pick because he had the 3 movement when transformed. And I actually still do use him in Ether Raids on my Fluffy Force team in Astra season. He's basically just another Wings of Mercy dancer to put on the team. Funny enough, though, I actually run Adult Flyer on him in Ether Raids because that doesn't do any kind of healing. And I found that when I was running Heron Wing, it was actually messing up the Wings of Mercy HP threshold on Fafnir, because I would be, like, I have the safety fence, so turn 1 I would get him low enough to be in Wings of Mercy range, and then I would go in turn 2. But the 7 HP healing from Heron Wing has actually messed that up several times, so I had to downgrade to Adult Flyer, which I think is hilarious. Next up is Faye, who's a unit who I do really love. She's so cute. She's like a little sister. I want to protect her. I do think her Refine is really good, actually. I think I was kind of sleeping on it when it first came out, but I think giving buffs to herself and others is, like, no joke. And Guard as well. So, yeah, she's another unit who, like Roy, like Lucas, like Hawkeye, I used to be able to use a lot in the early days of AR. Not so much nowadays, but she still does have a lot of fodder. I used her in Arena at one point, too, because I had Green Duel 3 on her. But yeah, she's also got Fortress Defense, Life and Death. I don't know why she has this. Death Blow 4, also don't know why she has that. Steady Stance 4, Mirror Stance. Yeah, Green Duel 3. Null Follow-Up. Yeah, she's got a lot. I want to use her more. I really do. But yeah, she's still very cute. And I really want to respond it for her. Next is another Faye, but this is the I was going to say Halloween. This is the Christmas version of Faye. And I picked up her Forma Soul because I didn't really have any Near Savers back then, so I thought she could make a good Near Saver. Yeah, with Dragon Wall, she's pretty good. Yeah, not much to say. I used to use her a lot as a Near Saver before I invested in Picnic Lucas and Halloween Myrrh. Can't say I've used her as much nowadays, but still good to have in your barracks. I feel like save units, you can never go wrong with having save units. So yeah. Then we've got this Python who I have at +10. I never gave him a really good A skill, but I did give him low speed defense and panic smoke. At one point, I was using him on my Cav line in AR before I switched to Olwen, who you're going to see later. But yeah, here he is. Not much to say about him. I really hope he gets a good refine. Next up is this Kagero, who I kind of just included here because she's +2 when I gave her fodder, like, years ago. I used to use her as, like, a... I don't know, Close Counter Bold Fighter really doesn't have good synergy. I'm not really sure what I was thinking. But I really liked her art, and I was like, I got 3 copies of her, why not just give her skills? So here she is. The sad part is she's never going to get a refine, so, like, if I want her to get better than this, I need to invest. But anyway, you guys can see her anyways. Next up is Lewin, and that's someone who I've got a lot of 4-star specials of. I think I also got Pity Broken by him once or twice back when he was a 5-star. And the refine is obviously amazing. Well, the refine itself was fine, but, like, the base effect of the weapon is amazing. So with null follow-up, he's just awesome. He just gets 2 hits in before they can even counterattack. Normally I would also be running, like, Flashing Blade on him, but it's on someone else right now, so, yeah. He's someone who I used to use on my Catria Ball on ARD, but I don't really do that anymore, so, yeah, he's kind of just sitting here, but he's still very good. Resplendent Lewin Wen. Oh, this is a unit who I built after we got her Resplendent. She is just stunning, like, I adore her. So pretty. Yeah, I gave her attack speed solo, gave her null follow-up. Normally she'd probably be running attack speed solo in the seal as well, but it's on someone else right now, so she can't have it. But, yeah, very pretty. Not much more to say about her. She's a decent unit, but not that good, to be honest. Next up is Lim Stella, who's another unit who I built because I really like their aesthetic. So, yeah, it's funny, I was talking about hoping Lim Stella would be added to Faye, like, the week before they were added to Faye, so it's super awesome that they actually were. They were definitely my most wanted unit to be added to Faye, so it was super awesome to see them added as a Grand Hero Battle so I could actually +10 them. I just think their aesthetic is very cool. Yeah. Like, that outfit, so slay. Their hair, very slay. All of it very slay. And their weapon is actually really good, too. So, I did decide to build them. I would have built them even if their weapon was bad, but I'm glad it's not. So we've got the Bracing Stance. Let me show you all the skills they've got. They've also got Bracing Stance, Close Reversal, Attack Res Form, and Attack Defense Ideal. Also Guard, but right now we're running the Stance, so we don't need the Guard, and Lull Attack Res, which is what I'm running now. I do actually use them alongside a Near Saver. They are a very good range tank, because they inflict a ton of attack and Res minus. and then grant another attack res plus to themselves, so they're very good res tank. And alongside Halloween Myrrh is how I use them in Chaos Season and Ether Raids. And you might be wondering, well, don't they deal chip damage to the people around them? Yes, they do, but it's only the nearest ally. So if I've got them in one space, and then right behind them I've got someone like Flane for support, and then behind Flane I've got the Myrrh for the near save, Myrrh doesn't actually get hit by it, so it would just be the support unit who's between them who gets hit. So yeah, this is a unit who's super fun. Really love using them. Next up is Olwen, who I mentioned earlier. This is a unit who, part of the reason why I decided to build her is because she's Reinhardt's sister, and I really like Reinhardt. But I think her Refine's actually decent, so I did use her on my cav line for a long time until I got New Year's Fafnir. But yeah, she's just got the Blade Tome Refine, Attack Speed Push, and Lull Speed Res. She did pretty well way back when. Nowadays probably wouldn't do as well, but still fun. Alright, we are down to the last stretch. We've got this Forma unit who's probably the one unit who I really shouldn't have picked up from Forma Soul. I'll be honest, guys, the reason why I picked her up is because while I was playing this Hall of Forms, she has this line when you tap her, like, on the screen. I don't remember. It's like,
I'm a monster!
And the voice acting was so cute. I was like, this is amazing. I need this unit in my barracks. I also did get a pretty good build on her. So, yeah, we got the Trace, the Push, and the Menace. So, yeah, I don't really use her much. But very cute art, very cute voice lines. Next up, we've got this Dancer Reinhardt, who is only +3, unfortunately, just like my Sword Heart. But still a unit who I enjoy using. So he's got Mirror Impact, Wings of Mercy, and Attack Res Oath. He's also got Deathblow 4, but Mirror Impact just looks shinier, so we're going with that. But yeah. As far as dancers go, I think he's pretty good, and obviously as far as combat dancers go, definitely pretty good. I hope he gets a Refine, but he never will. Next up is another Forma Soul, which I picked up. I was actually very intrigued by Micaiah's Refine. I think it's pretty good. Definitely tame compared to some of the other ones, but I still think very good. So I did pick up her Forma Soul. I do use her in Resonant battles, occasionally in limited hero battles as well. So yeah, she's just got a speedy build. I just really like speedy units when they shouldn't be, so I gave her Catch, Speed Res Vartrace, and Defense Res Menace. Defense Res Menace because I believe she debuffs attack speed with Yoon's Whispers. Yeah, so she's got the full debuffs if she runs this set. Next up is Valuria, who's a unit who I only have a +1, but I just wanted to show you guys because I don't know if this really counts as investment, but it's at least some investment. So I run her on my Fafi Force team alongside her partner Thor. She gives Thor 2 cooldown Gale Force, which is super awesome because a lot of the times Thor will just one-shot people, and obviously she can't Gale Force if she one-shots. So with Valuria, Thor just needs 1 hit and she can Gale Force, which is awesome. And then with Quickened Pulse and granting herself -2 cooldown at the start of turn 1, which is what she does with her support partner, she has a 2 cooldown Gale Force as well. So she just needs to Wings of Mercy in near Thor so that World Breaker activates, and 1 hit is also enough for her to get off Gale Force. So they are 2 very good partners to use. I think her Refined is actually super awesome for what I use her for, so I was really happy with it. But yeah, she's also got Attack Speed Form, because I didn't really have any other A skill that boosted attack and speed as much as this one does to give her, and Wings of Mercy. Next up is Kanegus, who just recently got a Refine. I think the Refine is very good, and I'm still trying to figure out what exactly I can do with him. So for now, I've just got the same build that I had on him before. I've got Distant Defense 4, Special Fighter, and then Defense Res Forms. So I might actually try using him in AR and then see if it might be worth investing Far Save in him. For now, I'm not making any calls yet, but I think his Refine is very, very good. Alright, now we are down to the last 2 rows of units who I have to show off, and there are a lot of hard hitters in here. A lot of claws, because they're all colorless pretty much. But let's start off with Duma. Yeah, I made some poor decisions with my orbs this weekend, and I now have a +6 Duma. So I did pick up 3 copies along the way. One of them was a Spark, and I guess he's someone who I'm going to +10 eventually. So definitely excited for that.
But in the meantime, I've decided to give him a pretty interesting build that you aren't really going to see often on him because he does have Upheaval, which is really good. But I also think he can function really well as a far save tank. So I've given him Distant Defense 4 and also Crafty Fighter. And obviously DC Dragon Seal, very good. So alongside Far Save, I think this makes him really, really good. And obviously his Weapon Refine is quite good as well. So I think he's a unit who a lot of people are sleeping on. I think he's really good.
Next up is Baby Innis, who I built because I like Innis, and just maybe this is a pretty good unit. So pretty standard build. He's got Harsh Command for Arena. He does score 175 in Arena, which is not the greatest, but occasionally, if I'm too lazy to bless one of my 180 BST units, and he has the right blessing, I'll just use him instead. So he's got Attack Speed Solo, Ruptured Sky, Null Follow-Up, and Times Pulse, and the Seal would probably normally be Attack Speed Solo as well. So yeah, he's pretty good. Don't find myself using him as much anymore, but I still think he's really good. Next up is this Ignatz, who unfortunately I thought would be a lot better than he actually is. As you can see, I invested Far Save in him. Kind of regret it. Unfortunately, nowadays, if you are a Far Save unit who doesn't have, like, nullifies armor effectiveness, it's kind of hard to be good. Like, he just dies so often, it's kind of sad. I tried using him in Summoner Duels, he was just nowhere near the power level of Brave Hector, so I kind of just stopped. So you see him here now. The next time I do a Barracks showcase, he might not be. If I ever need Far Save fodder, he might be the one to go. Because he's just +1. Sorry Ignatz fans. I was gonna +10 him, but then I decided not to because Arena, like units like Legendary and Duo Crom are so common that he just crumples against them. So, yeah. Haven't really been able to find a good use case for him, unfortunately. Next up is this Legendary Leaf, who I picked up a ton of copies for while trying to +10 my Legendary Claude. So I did give him, like, Arena fodder. Yeah. He's alright. He's a pretty good unit. I like using him in Resonant battles, but just like Edelgard in Arena, like, even though he's +4 and he technically should score well in Water Season, I just tend to not use him. But I do use him occasionally if I'm trying to do, like, a Cavalry Emblem quest or something. Or for limited hero battles, and again in resonant battles, so he's pretty good. Yeah. Another unit who obviously I really like a lot. Claude is awesome. Claude's my favorite Fire Emblem character. He really needs a refine. So I hope he's getting one soon. But for now, I've got a bunch of different bows on him. I've got Brave Bow, Fire Sweep, Spendthrift, Cupid's Arrow. Cupid's Arrow was just for fun because it looked cute. And obviously Cunning Bow, but I never run that because why would I? He's also got Deadeye, Attack Speed Push 4, Lull Attack Defense, and Panic Smoke. I think he's also got Pulse Smoke, but yeah. Right now, the only way I ever really use him is on my AR defense team. I gave him Fire Sweep Bow and double Poison Strike, so he can help chip down some Far Save units whose names aren't Ascended Fjorm. But yeah, really hoping he gets a good refine because I want to be able to use him more. Next up is New Year's Plumeria. I know she's just +0, but I just love Plumeria so much. And I did give her some fodder, so we do have her here. This is my favorite Plumeria art in the game. I think it's just the prettiest. I love the kimono that they gave her. Yeah, I just love this art. It's so vibrant. So I gave her Brave Bow because she actually has a lot of attack. I gave her Deadeye because I have way too many Shinons. Obviously, if you remember Claude Apocalypse, when I was trying to +10 Legendary Claude and a million Shinons showed up instead, she has Deadeye. She's also got Attack Defense Solo from the Shinon, Wings of Mercy, Attack Defense Rain. Yeah, she deals a lot of damage when I want her to. I also do use her in Ether Raids alongside Fafi Force. Because alongside Sweet Dreams and Wings of Mercy, she's a pretty good unit to go in there and dance, because she gets debuffs off. But yeah. Unfortunately, I will not be merging her, because I have no interest in going into a double-focused New Year's banner ever again. It was hell trying to get her. It was like 200-something orbs. So yeah.
I initially recorded this video right before the Brave Claude Refine came out, and so it didn't have my updated build. So I've edited the video just to include my updated Brave Claude build here. So as you can see, this is a very different build from what I used to run on Brave Claude. I used to run him as an enemy phase unit with like close counter, guard in the B skill, maybe quick riposte, and Iote's shield. But I feel like with his refine, he does a lot better as like a mixed phase unit paired with a near saver. And so I decided to completely revamp his build. So obviously we've got the refine, and then as his special, we've got Deadeye, and the cooldown for that works really well with the rest of the build. And then we've got attack speed catch 4, speed preempt, and then the C skill is flexible, so I could run attack speed rain, I could run pulse smoke, I could run attack speed menace, which I also have on him just to give him the buffs and also further debuff the enemy. And then again, this seal is also pretty flexible, but I prefer something attack speed boosting, so in this case I'm running attack speed form. And guys, I've tested this build out in summoner duels. So far that's the only mode I've had the chance to use it in, and it goes crazy. It is so good. Like, this Claude was able to stall out plus 10 duo Corrin, the ninja Corrin on the enemy team. Even though she had Swift Sparrow 3, she was initiating on him and he was solo, like he was on his own, none of my other units were alive. So he didn't even get the effects of his weapon, nor did he get the effects of attack speed form. That Corrin could not get through speed preempt. She could not touch him without dying. And to me, that was just like what I really needed to see, that his speed is high enough to compete with meta viable units nowadays, and that's just crazy. That is so awesome. He is so good, guys. Like, if you have a Brave Claude with any number of merges in your barracks and you're willing to invest in him, highly recommend doing it. He is very, very, very good.
Then Legendary Claude, who is another unit who I obviously love very much. Before Summer Claude came out, he was definitely one of my most used units. Now I find that I've reached towards Summer Claude more often, but I still think Legendary Claude's very good. And in Arena as well. He's got the 185 BST in Arena, but then he also scores like a 190 unit, I believe, because of Fallen Star. So yeah, this is kind of the build I have on him. I've also got Impact on him, but it's not super useful because he already has no follow-up. Also got Deadeye from another Shinon, attack speed menace. I've also got pulse smoke on him, but yeah, no, he's still a very, very good unit. And I went through so many tiers to get him to plus 10. So here he is in all his glory. Next up we've got another Forma unit who I got because I was looking for skills on her. I never use her, to be very honest. I was considering building her with like a courtly mask. That's like the damage reduction mask, the damage reduction dagger. I was considering building her with that and far save, but I just don't think she'd be that good. I think she'd run into the same issues that Ignatz does, where she still has armor weakness. But yeah, here she is. Not a great build. Normally she'd be running something like quick riposte. I do also have a player phase build on her with the broadleaf fan, and then bold fighter. But here she is. I just figured I'd show her off because she's plus 10. Alright, down to the last two units. I'm actually going to save Linhardt for the end because I think he's cooler than Veronica, so we're going to show Veronica first. This is a unit who I used to use on my cav line before I put the second speed heart in. Odd recovery also obviously very useful on a cav line because it does, it neutralizes things like isolation, so that was really good. And yeah, I think in general she's a pretty good offensive staff, still one of the better ones nowadays, despite the fact that she's old. So here she is. I still use her in like limited hero battles, but aside from that I don't use her much. And then last but not least, we've got one of my more recent plus 10 units, and that's Linhardt. And just look at that. Look at that defense and res. That's so much fun. Wait, can I give him more dragon flowers? Where is that? Is it interact with allies? No, it's gotta be ally growth. Use dragon flowers. Let's see if we can give Linhardt more dragon flowers. We can. Alright, let's get him to plus 15 so he hits that 50 defense. Alright, so let's take a look at him. Yeah, this is just basically like a you cannot kill this unit type of build. Unless you get off something like a special like Luna on him. But he does have Melancholy, which has guard. Like the guard effect. So he's actually quite difficult to kill alongside Miracle, alongside the Fortress skills. I don't know. He's just fun. I was gonna go with like a speedy build on him, but I was like, nah, that's boring. So he was now, by stats wise alone, he is the tankiest unit in my barracks. So yeah, that's really fun. Yeah, I like Linhardt in 3 houses, so that's why I decided to build him in Fae, even though he's not that good. But yeah, that is my barracks. This is like an hour-long video, so I guess hopefully you had this on in the background while you were doing something else, but I hope you guys enjoyed. This is, I guess, like, you could count it as like I never did a 5K subscriber special, also never did a 6K subscriber special, so if you want to count it as that, feel free. If not, just count it as, like, I guess a special video. But yeah, this was really fun to do. This also kind of forced me to go through my units and, like, just remember some of the units who I built and I haven't used in so long. So I feel like there are definitely some of these units who I had just forgotten about, and so now I'm going to try using them more. But yeah, this was super fun to do. Thank you guys again so much. I wanted to give a huge shout out to the Promenaders as well. Thank you guys so much. The Promenaders are my channel members, and I super appreciate you guys and your support. And if you want to become a Promenader, you can check out the link in the video description. But yeah, thank you so much for your support, guys. And yeah, I'm glad I was finally able to get this video out because I've been kind of low on motivation ever since graduating university. I've just kind of been lazing around doing nothing. And I feel like making videos, as much as, you know, it's a lot of effort, it's nice to do something. So thank you guys for being patient with me. I did announce this like 2 or 3 weeks ago. But yeah, super appreciate all of you. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye!